So obviously they're going
I
to
don't
say
think
we're
that's
targeting
true.
criminals, right? But like, do you think your hit rate for targeting criminals is going to be very high if you're staking out front of immigrants who are showing up to their day in court, right? Like criminals typically don't do that, right?
But I'm pretty sure the vast majority have been criminals. The vast majority.
Here's Cato. Around 5% of people detained by ICE have violent convictions. 73% have no convictions. 8% have like property damage.
Since Trump came into office?
Yes.
5%?
5% are violent.
Okay. Yeah, if that's...
73% have no criminal convictions
I would have
ever.
thought it would be maybe 95%.
Quite frankly, you need to subscribe to Rinnycast.
What's up, extra sources? How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, why is he terrible?
Because his policies are terrible. He's been acting terrible. His rhetoric is terrible. The fact that he constantly keeps lying about things is pretty terrible. We can go into like something specific if you want me to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that he's perfect, but I think he's better than the other candidates.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Really? Why?
Because the other candidates wouldn't. Yeah, the other candidates wouldn't have done the things that I don't like about Donald Trump. They wouldn't have like done malicious action to rob people of their constitutional rights. They wouldn't have pardoned all of the J6ers. They wouldn't have constantly lied and spread misinformation to their base about like breaking news stuff.
Yeah, but I'm specifically talking about him versus Joe Biden.
Correct. Well, Kamala Harris, right? She was the one that was running.
No, because Joe Biden was forcefully taken out, but he was before.
Well, he wasn't the candidate. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I voted for Kamala Harris.
Okay, but so you're admitting that Joe Biden is probably not as good as Trump.
No, Joe Biden is also Joe Biden's also better, right? He's just not the option, right? So I don't know why we could talk about it. Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump is better, but
how is he better if he let illegal aliens into the country?
He didn't. That's why.
Then why were there 15 million people that came over the border?
I think you're citing encounter numbers, buddy. That's not what that means.
I'm sorry?
So I don't think you're citing that number correctly. Encounter numbers
there were millions of people. I don't know the exact number.
Sure, encounter numbers aren't a good metric as to how many illegal immigrants are coming into the country, unless you're just talking about like migration period, in which case I don't think migration period is a bad thing.
I mean, yeah, we can stay away from Biden because he's not the president. I don't think that Trump has actually been terrible, though. I don't think that there's anything he's done that's terrible.
No, stop. I'm sorry. We're 1v1ing. Okay.
No, you're...
If it was a mic problem, then it's not on YouTube's problem. It's on YouTube's side. It's fine.
So just give me an example of something he's done that's terrible. I don't think there's any terrible actions that have been taken.
Yeah, look at him pardoning the J6ers.
I mean, from certain point of views, that could be bad. I don't know if it's terrible, though.
No, it's pretty terrible, right? When people try and invade the Capitol to steal an election for a particular candidate, and then after they're charged, especially when during that riot, they were like macing Capitol police officers and crushing them with doors and stomping on their heads, right? Like when those people get their sentences commuted and then they're held up as martyrs by the President of the United States, that's incredibly bad.
Yeah, but if Trump got the get out of jail free card, why shouldn't they? That's only fair.
Trump shouldn't have.
But he did. Nothing we can do about it, so why not let them all free?
Why would we just randomly free the leader of the Proud Boys because Donald Trump got a get out of jail free card? That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's a presidential power, dude. He has the right to do it.
I'm not asking if he has the right to do it. I'm asking if it's bad or not. Right, like we're not judging the president based off of whether or not he is the president.
Allowed to pardon people.
Yes.
To those people.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not terrible if it was allowed. You can't magically change the definition of the word.
Do you think just because something is
allowed to do it by the law?
Wait, what if I cheat on my girlfriend? Do you think that's a terrible thing for me to do?
Yeah, probably.
Is it illegal?
No.
Okay, so something can be terrible and not illegal, right?
I mean, sure, but I
okay,
guess
so this was terrible but not illegal, right?
It was not illegal, no, but you
That's
could
what I'm
say
saying.
it's
It was
terrible,
but it's not illegal.
But if he got away with it, why wouldn't he let his friends get away with it? Or not his friends, but why wouldn't he let the other people involved? Since
Because I
he
think the
believes they
United
were
States
treated
should.
unfairly.
I think, well, he believes that because he's stupid, right? I don't think that the United States should stand for basically doing an insurrection, getting caught, and then hoping that you get elected president so you can let all your buddies go. It's not the America I want to live in.
An insurrection is another strong word.
Mm-hmm. It was a strong action,
Yeah,
right? Like when you're trying to hunt down Congresspeople to decertify the results of the election, a group of them doing it with force, right? What do you call that?
Did he say those words, or did he say something that...
Well, all of the rioters were chanting, hang Mike Pence, right?
No, it was a very small group. Same way in any protest. In the BLM protest, there were small groups that burned down buildings.
Okay.
But you can't apply that to everybody there. Most of those people were
I'm not
peaceful.
applying it to everybody
Most
there.
Of them, some were MAGA mothers who were walking by.
I'm not applying that to everybody there. I'm saying that the goal of those groups was to decertify the election using a group, using violence. What else would you call that?
No, it wasn't, because it was a very small amount of them. Because most of those people had no idea why they were there. They were just there for a riot.
The group of people,
right? And
were
are you
there
ignoring
to
the evidence that there were 50
Stop.
people implemented into the?
We'll get to your turn, big dog. Okay. These people.
I mean, that's true as well.
That group of people was there with a group using violence to decertify the results of the election.
You're not
correct?
that special.
Dude, you're not that special. I can drop you down here in a second.
A group of 50 people? Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
There were some people who were bad.
Those 50 people were pardoned by Donald Trump, correct?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he thought they were treated unfairly, I think.
What's the evidence of that?
And scrap.
Okay, stop.
The evidence is that he said it.
No, I'm saying, what's the evidence of those people being mistreated?
They went to jail longer than some terrorists did, dude.
Yeah, they are terrorists, right? They tried to... Yeah, they were trying to decertify the result of the election with force in a group. That's an insurrection. You should be treated like a domestic terrorist in that case. But Donald Trump freed all of those people.
No. You're conflating two extremely different things. An
No,
insurrection is not a riot that goes bad. Because if it is, then
right.
every BLM riot...
You're correct. An insurrection is when you use a group of people using violence to prevent the execution of the Constitution. That's what we saw on January 6th.
The execution of the Constitution. And what execution of the Constitution did they prevent?
They were trying to prevent the certification of the election.
And they didn't prevent it, meaning it's not an insurrection.
Okay,
right?
Do you want to say failed insurrection? As in they were trying to do an insurrection and they failed?
That's more of a... Well, but they... So that you're saying they were trying to violate... Right? They were trying to violate the Constitution. That's what you're saying.
They were trying to prevent an execution of the Constitution using a group and violence.
Which is the certification of the vote.
The certification of the election. Or more so, the pressuring of Mike Pence to decertify state-certified electors.
So doesn't that mean that the ICE protests are also an insurrection?
Some of them are.
Because they're... Some of them are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm surprised you just admitted that. Okay, so there we go. So it's not a big deal.
It's not an admission. That's just what an insurrection is, right? So why did Donald Trump pardon all of these people who were trying to use violence to decertify the results of the election?
Because he thought they were treated unfairly.
Okay,
I have no idea
what
if they were or
indication
not.
does he? They weren't, right? So that's the problem. Is that Donald Trump is delusional? Then he's delusional. Then, like that's another argument for him being terrible. If he's so delusional that he thinks that these random people who are stomping on Capitol Police officers' head, like we were really mean to them, then like he can fuck off, right? Like that still makes the action terrible.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that bad when it's happening 10 times worse on the other side.
When's the last time that the Democrats tried to steal an election?
No, but they've done insurrections. Multiple, like you just said. With ICE.
Okay, can you name me one Democrat insurrection that was worse than January 6th?
Yeah, in California. What happened in the summer. There's an example.
Okay, so
Or what happened
somebody
earlier in
throwing
the
a
year.
cinder block at a ICE officer? That's worse than a group of Trump supporters breaking in to stop the certification
Yep,
of the
because they were
2020
lighting the
election?
streets on fire
They weren't lighting the
and
streets on
blocking
fire.
the operation of ICE.
Blocking the
And
do
denying the
you
results
think
of the election, which is that
they
Donald
were
Trump
not
won
they
in
were
his
not
agenda.
That's not true. They weren't denying the results of the election. Do you think that blocking an ICE truck is worse than trying to stop the certification of the country's election?
No, I don't. But they
Okay.
also thought that it was rigged.
So on what grounds do you think that that's worse?
Because the people there were there because they believed that it was a stolen election.
I don't care what they
people for
believe.
the
They're
ICE
wrong.
Well, they believe that they're right, and you believe that they're wrong.
Well, luckily that reality is an
The
objective
thing
thing.
is, on both sides, you see a
Thank
whole
God
bunch of
reality
claims
is
being
an
made.
objective thing. The election was not stolen from them. They had no justification to try and commit an insurrection to overturn the results of the election. They were wrong, both morally, factually, legally, every
but on
way
both
that you
sides-
can think.
On both sides, a whole bunch of claims are made, so what can you take and say, this is the truth?
Donald Trump's claims
Kind
were
of
wrong,
impossible.
and everybody who was investigating the election told him that those claims were wrong, and he repeated them anyway because he was lying to the people. Like, reality is not a subjective thing where some people think some things and other people think other things. If all of the Republican Party thought
Yeah,
the
it
sky
is.
was red, if all
Because
of the
other
Republican
side is
Party
saying
thought the
that
sky...
you're wrong.
Okay, well, they're just object... Do you think there's objective reality?
Oh, yeah, of course, but the other
Okay, the
both
objective
sides will accuse
reality-
each other
the
of not doing that.
Okay, well then let's talk about the objective reality here. Let's not just, like, the fact
Okay.
that somebody believed something doesn't give them justification to act on that bad belief, right? Somebody believes that murder is justified, that doesn't mean that they should go around murdering people.
Yeah, but how do you know for sure that the election was not rigged? Like, we don't really know
Because we have no
anything.
evidence of it.
No evidence of it.
Yeah, there's
You
no
sure?
evidence of widespread election fraud.
Widespread. So there
Yes,
was
as in
some.
anything that would change the outcome of the election, there's no evidence of. I think there was like maybe 12 fraudulent voters in Georgia, and you could probably extrapolate that out to the other states, but like 200 fraudulent votes in a election that's contested by millions and millions of votes does not give you grounds to cause an insurrection to steal the election, right?
So that one event, which is bad, from 5 years ago,
And then Donald Trump
still
letting all of these
applies
people...
today.
Yeah, because Donald Trump let all of these people walk on those charges, even though they were trying to kill Capitol Police officers in furtherance of that goal. He still lies about the election being stolen from him, even though he was the one that was trying to steal the election. And he just, yesterday, he put out a post documenting all of it on the White House website that was full of a bunch of inaccuracies.
Okay, yeah.
So yes, it still
But
matters
still, I
because
don't- I
Donald
don't
Trump is
think
still
any of
lying
this
about it.
affects anyone.
It does affect it. It
It's
does
not
affect
affecting
people.
anybody.
All of these J6ers
not.
that got pardoned are like a fuck ton of them are back in jail after they reoffended, right? Why the fuck would we put these violent offenders that were trying to kill police officers back on the floor? Just putting the American people in needless danger.
Yeah, but that's not like real danger. I mean, like,
Yes,
it's
that
not
is
really
real
affecting
danger.
the
These people,
economy or
these
anything.
people,
The
no,
economy's
stop,
getting
stop.
better, which
These
is what
people
care
went
about.
to the United States Capitol, and many of them tried to kill Capitol Police officers, and then Donald Trump pardoned them. Why is he putting the American people in needless danger by pardoning all of these people who were trying to kill Capitol Police officers?
Because he does dumb stuff sometimes. Same with
Do you
every
agree that that's a
president.
terrible action?
Both sides do it.
Do you think that's a terrible
Yeah.
action?
All pardons are terrible actions, I would say.
Okay, can you give me an example of anything that a Democrat has done that's comparably bad to that?
Well, like I just said, all pardons are bad, I think. So,
You think it's
the
so
Hunter
if we
Biden
pardon if we
probably
pardon
not a good
somebody
idea.
we pardon somebody for like nonviolent marijuana possession, do you think that's just as bad as pardoning somebody for stomping on a Capitol Police officer's head as a part of a plot to overturn the results of the election?
No, definitely not.
Okay, so that's why I'm asking you. Can you tell me something that's comparably bad from the Democrats as Donald Trump pardoning almost 2,000 people who were convicted as a part of that insurrection?
I could think of a few things, actually. Probably celebrating deaths of people like Charlie Kirk, and also rioting.
Did Kamala Harris ever do that?
Oh, no, you didn't say Kamala Harris. You said Democrats.
Yeah, sure. When I'm talking about Democrats, I'm talking about elected Democrats, right? Did Kamala Harris, Joe Biden do any of that? Did they ever riot? Did they ever justify the death of Charlie Kirk, make fun of him, do any of that?
Elected Democrats.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I'm talking about elected Republicans.
Well,
I'm not
did
just
elected
talking about
Democrats
random
do anything that you said? I don't think elected Republicans did anything that you said.
Yes, they did.
No, they
Donald
didn't.
Trump.
What did they do? What did they do?
He let all of those people out of prison.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. What is elected Democrat who's done something worse?
Yeah.
Or as bad?
As bad or worse. Yeah.
Like how recently?
Enough to justify voting for a Republican, right? Like if you're bringing something up from like fucking Andrew Jackson, that's not going to give you justified to vote for Donald Trump, right?
I mean, I was gonna say pardoning Hunter Biden, but that's obviously not as bad.
I agree.
So something as bad as that, I'm not sure.
Okay. So this is kind of the problem that I'm facing with a lot of these Republican debates, right? Is that January 6th, I think, is a really, really bad thing. I think there's probably like 30 other things that the Trump administration has done that's comparably bad. Whenever I ask for examples of like, well, can you give me an example of like an elected Democrat or a Democrat running for office that did anything close to this? It's always no, right? Like, why would we vote for somebody like this? Why would we still support somebody like this if even you acknowledge that we can't name something comparably bad from the left?
Because people mainly care about things like the economy and house prices and groceries. That's probably the main reason. And also social problems, social issues.
Okay, don't you think it's a social problem that Donald Trump is freeing a bunch of attempted murderers and insurrectionists? Don't you think that's a social problem?
No, absolutely. But I think there are trade-offs, and the trade-off is if he's going to close the border, then and stop letting trans people play in the sports of their choosing, people are making the trade-off.
So the trade-off that you're comfortable with making is no more trans women in women's sports, or getting all of these people who tried to murder Capitol Police officers out of jail. That's the trade that you're comfortable with making?
No, because it's not just that, and the economy.
Okay,
That's
what's like
thing.
one piece
the
of
prices.
what's one piece of like policy from the Trump administration thus far that you liked?
Just literally anything?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say the border numbers going down to 0.
It's not a policy.
That's good policy.
It's not a policy, right? Like, what's one thing that Donald Trump did?
The policy that was passed to close the border.
What policy was that?
Whatever made the border numbers go to 0, that's a policy that had to have been passed to make those numbers go down.
Okay,
It
so
can't just magically happen.
So I would argue that the reason that those border numbers went down is, one, because we weren't doing Title 42 anymore, right? So there was a giant influx of immigration due to COVID-19. So the numbers were already coming down at the tail end of Biden's administration. Donald Trump riding a trend downward is not impressive to me at all. You can point to him putting a $500 fee in front of seeking asylum, which I think is incredibly inhumane. Don't think that that's a good border policy. And all the rest of it is just immigrants knowing that they don't want to come to America because it sucks ass right now for if you're an immigrant, right? Like, if you know, America was a terrible country, I'm certain that immigration numbers would probably go down to 0, but that's not a good thing because it's not a good price to pay, right? All of the things that Donald Trump have done at the border is not making the country a better place.
Yeah, but that's still an example of a policy that has made the country better.
No,
somewhat.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. It has not made the country
Why?
better.
Because
Putting a $500 fee in front of asylum rights is not a good thing. I don't even think that's a legal thing, right? Like, making America a much less amenable place for immigrants is not a good thing for the country.
Why?
Because immigration is good.
For what? What is immigration good for?
It's good for innovation. It's good for the economy. It's good for the workforce.
What is illegal immigration good for?
Most
good
of
for nothing.
Most of the same things.
Illegal?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I don't...
You could say, oh my god, right? Like... No, I don't know what
So you don't think that Americans can do the jobs?
Just on numbers-wise, like, there's more jobs open than Americans looking for jobs, right? Like, numbers-wise, no.
Okay, yeah, which is why there's some legal immigration, not illegal. There's a big difference.
Okay, what is Donald Trump?
Massive.
Do you think that... Why do you think that illegal immigration is so high?
It's not anymore.
Why do you think it was?
Why do I think it was?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the border. The border was open.
But you acknowledge that if you come here, if you come here legally, you get more rights than you do if you come here illegally, right? So you would be incentivized to come here legally, correct?
Yeah, but it's a longer process, which is why people didn't.
Right. So that's the answer I was looking for, right? A big reason why so many people want to come here illegally is because our legal immigration process is fucking dog shit, right? Like the wait times for applications for protected status are super long and untenable, right? So like,
yeah, which is why they come here illegally, because it's too complex.
Right. So don't you think don't you think it'd be a better policy to make it easier to legally immigrate here than to rob people of their constitutional rights to get them out as quickly as possible and like send these ICE raids into?
Yeah, I do, but neither side did that.
Well, Joe Biden was trying, right? That's what the border bill was for.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Why didn't he?
Because Congress didn't pass it.
What didn't Congress pass? They didn't pass a law that would have made it easier?
Yeah, he was trying to put more immigration judges on the border so they could litigate these claims quicker. So not only would that admit more legal...
No. They said no to that.
Well, they didn't pass it because Donald Trump was calling Congress people saying, hey, if you pass this bill, I'm going to primary you out of your seat. Because it's a good election issue for the Republicans.
So that is the reason why it never got passed?
Yep.
The only reason?
Yep.
There was no other thing?
Yep.
Okay, well, if that's true, then that's obviously not a good thing.
I agree.
I guess.
Like, I think that even if your number one issue is immigration, Donald Trump is not the person for you. I think there's a lot better solutions to the problems at the border, and I think a lot of it revolves around fixing our legal immigration process. But Donald Trump has no interest in that, right? Like,
but he's doing that.
No, he's not. He has no interest in doing anything to the legal immigration process at all. Right now, the only thing that we've seen is him continuing to crack down on legal immigration by revoking people's student visas, by putting a $500 fee in front of asylum seekers, by capping H-1B, by holding up net negative migration as a good thing.
So if he doesn't
Donald Trump doesn't like legal immigration either.
Just make them all legal?
Give them a pathway to citizenship. If we have a decent reason to deport them, then deport them. But these ICE raids are not necessary, and Donald Trump isn't concerned about fixing our immigration processes.
Going after criminals who have killed people.
That's not true. The ICE agents are staking out in front of Home Depots and courthouses.
I'm pretty sure that they're just targeting criminals.
It's not true.
It's literally stated by them.
Yeah, they lie. Right, like, do
So
you think
all
do you
of
think
the
the hit
government
rate
lies?
Donald Trump's administration lies, yes. I like the office,
But
like
all the other ones don't?
It depends, right? Like the Inspector General, I think even under Donald Trump is probably going to be mostly truthful. I think that the DHS right now under Donald Trump is incredibly partisan. Even more partisan than it was under his first term. I think I'd be much more open to trusting a lot of the cabinet officials from his first term than I am now, because it's incredibly clear if you're one of Donald Trump's cabinet members and you disagree with him on anything, you're getting fired, right? So obviously they're going to say we're targeting criminals, right? But like, do you think your hit rate for targeting criminals is going to be very high if you're staking out front of immigrants who are showing up to their day in court, right? Like criminals typically don't do that, right? Why would you show up to a courthouse if you were a criminal?
Because that's... but I'm pretty sure the vast majority have been criminals. The vast majority.
It's not true. Unless you're counting the crime of being here illegally, then yeah, potentially. But like...
No, again, not that crime. Just other crimes that are committed while here.
Yeah, then that's not
like
true.
Violence. Just anything violent.
That's
like
not true.
Killing people or rape. Those are the biggest ones.
That's not who they're targeting.
Completely not true.
Yes, correct.
So what percent of people are actual criminals? Like a
we
very
can
low
look it up.
percent? Well, if you're saying they're lying, then it's impossible to figure out.
People detained. No, it's not impossible to figure out. Detained by ICE have violent criminal record. Here's Cato. Around 5% of people detained by ICE have violent convictions. 73% have no convictions. 8% have like property damage.
Since Trump came into office?
Yes.
5%?
5% are violent.
Okay. Yeah, if that's
73% have no criminal convictions ever.
I would have thought it'd be maybe 95%.
I agree.
From what I've seen.
So I think this is also hitting at one of the biggest problems. So when you first came in, I think I brought up the fact that Donald Trump is just constantly lying about stuff, right?
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
I think that's one of the biggest problems, right? Is that a lot of people are just blindly beholden to Donald Trump. And if it's like if you're a government agent or if you're like a news body or whatever, you're doing this because you know it's in your best interest, right? If you work for the government, you contradict what Donald Trump is saying, he will fire you, right? That's something that diverges from the typical American way. Typically what would happen is like the cabinet members are supposed to advise the president, right? But that's not what is happening under the Trump administration. These people are beholden to Donald Trump. So I wouldn't trust anything that's coming from one of his cabinet members because they're probably just going to lie for him because they know they have to in order to keep their job. And a lot of these media agencies, they know if they break from the word of Donald Trump, they're going to be held accountable because, you know, the Trump supporters will stop watching their program. So there's just a lot of misinformation coming out around Donald Trump's administration right now. And partially directly from Donald Trump and his administration. Like they're posting false information even on the White House website. So I don't blame you for coming away from that conclusion that Donald Trump is targeting violent people because that's the narrative that they're trying to sell you. It's just not, a lot of it's just not true, right? Even the open border from Joe Biden, it's incredibly overstated.
Well, I don't know if the White House is posting untrue things. That doesn't seem... Trump doesn't run every single thing. He doesn't run the White House website.
Sure. So when I say Trump, I'm talking about the like the Trump administration, like the people working under Trump.
So you're saying the website has untrue things, just lies?
Yes.
That sounds very unusual.
I actually just posted. So on the 5th anniversary of January 6th, they posted a timeline retelling everything, and they called it a peaceful protest where the Capitol police officers were being the instigators.
Yeah, but something other than January 6th, because that's kind of like a... That's just like... People are just crazy about that.
That's what I'm saying. He's like directly lying about it, though, right? Like those are verifiable lies, right? The first person through the Capitol window was a Proud Boy with a stolen riot shield. That doesn't seem indicative of the Capitol police officers instigating everything, and it's certainly not peaceful, right?
But I don't know if that's an example of them lying.
Or you could even look at Donald Trump's look at Donald Trump and Kristi Noem's statements on the shooting that just happened, right? Like they said that the ICE officers' vehicle was. They said the ICE officers' vehicles were stuck in a snowbank, and this person, who's a domestic terrorist, was trying to weaponize her car to ram them down. That's not true at all, right? What happened is the ICE officers were trying to detain the person. She tried to cut away from them. She debatably nipped the one guy on the leg, and then he shot through her windshield. That's like 1,000% not an accurate retelling of what happened.
I mean, I would say he does lie a lot, but... It kind of feels like everybody lies, but
I agree. Everybody lies sometimes. Do you know the difference between like lying and being wrong?
Yeah,
I think that so. I think that illustrates. So like, if somebody's lying, it implies that they know they're saying something that's not true, right? Whereas if somebody's wrong, it's possible that they like. If I say, oh yeah, I'm going to the store. I'll be back at 3:30, and I'm back at 3:45. I didn't lie. I was just wrong, right? Whereas if I say, yeah, I'm going to be back at 3:30, and then I come back 2 months later, well, I was lying, right? It's clear that I was not being truthful when I said that. I think that's the difference, is that you can point to a lot of people just not being perfect and being wrong about a particular thing. That doesn't shock me. We're people, right? I think there's extraordinary evidence that people a part of the Trump administration lie more often. They say things that they know are not true. I mean, the January 6th thing is a perfect example of it, because there was a lot of like verifiable lying going on there, right? Like, for example, when he was trying to get the states to decertify their election results, and he went to the Department of Justice and he asked his attorney general, like, hey, has the DOJ found any evidence of fraud? And the DOJ basically said no, right? And then regardless of the fact that the head of the Department of Justice just told them that they didn't find anything, he went to the vice president and said, yeah, the DOJ is finding a lot of fraud right now, right? Like, you can verify that that's an incorrect statement, and that he knew that was an incorrect statement because the head of the DOJ told him that it wasn't true, right? Like, I don't see those kind of lies happening from any elected Democrat politician. The only thing that really comes to mind is like Tim Walz getting a date wrong that he visited China, right?
Yeah, but a lot of their quote-unquote lies could just be their interpretation of something, like the Minnesota thing. Is that necessarily a lie? It's just like exaggerated.
I think
it's
that
not like lying, is it?
So
I guess it depends.
That comes down to how much faith you have, right? So I would say that that's a lie, because like anybody who watches the video of what happened to that woman in Minnesota and said that it's an accurate way to characterize that as saying that an ICE vehicle got stuck in a snowbank and that somebody was trying to ram them down as they de-stucked their car. Like, there's no way, I don't think there's any way that you can say that believing that that's accurate. I think that goes beyond like positive framing. I think that's malicious, right? Now there's a little more room for interpretation there, I suppose. I don't think it'd be good faith interpretation, but theoretically there's room for interpretation. But in terms of like the DOJ thing that I said, I don't think there's like, that's a case of, you know, the DOJ explicitly telling him one thing and Donald Trump telling somebody else the opposite.
Yeah, but don't you think it's bad that the left instantly said it's murder and the right also instantly said it's self-defense, both right away? Like, what are the odds that all the people on the left came to that conclusion without anything influencing their opinion?
I mean, there's certainly an amount of partisanship that goes on with politics right now because we're an incredibly divided country. Like, I'm not going to deny that. I will say that there is a difference between saying that, you know, the officer got hit in the leg and so it was self-defense, he feared for his life. I think that that's a position that you can have in good faith. I disagree, but I think that's a position that you can have in good faith. But saying that their car was stuck in a snowbank and while they were trying to get it unstuck, wild domestic terrorists came through and tried to kill the ICE officers. That's not something that we can reasonably disagree on. That's something that's incorrect. Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security.
Where did she say that? On a video?
Yeah, it was a part of a press conference. Let me see if I can see it.
Because if there's video of her saying that, then yeah. I would say that it's pretty bad to say. But if it's a tweet, it's still bad, but...
Let's see if I can find it here.
So a couple of questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them.
Yeah, okay. So I can't actually show it. Like show the video. I'm gonna see if I can find something that will let you.
I mean, I can
look
take
it up.
I mean,
if
no way you would have made it up.
Well, if you're curious, okay, this is posted on YouTube. It's posted by NBC News. The title of the video is Kristi Noem says deadly ICE-involved shooting was a result of an act of domestic terrorism. That's the name of the video if you care to look it up. Or like if anybody on YouTube is watching, right? Like I could play the video right now.
You
Right?
asked about a shooting terrorism.
Okay, yeah.
What happened was our ICE officer.
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about, let's say in 4 years, Trump is gone. Wouldn't Vance probably actually be a not bad alternative because he's not really a part of that whole group? He's
Vance
kind of more of a in the middle.
Vance is obviously I'm gonna have different criticisms for Vance than I do Donald Trump. Most of my criticisms for Donald Trump is like coming from like almost like a fight against American values, right? Like I'm somebody that considers myself a really big patriot. You can't see because there's a green screen, but like right behind me is a giant American flag, right? Like I consider myself a giant patriot. I love this country. And the perspective that I come from when I'm fighting against Donald Trump is somebody that I don't view as loving the country. I think that's the biggest problem. Now, me and JD Vance are going to have like really, I fiercely disagree with him on certain policy things, right? Like I'm not as anti-immigration as he is. I support more renewable energies than he does. We probably have different economic outlooks, but like I do think that JD Vance is probably a more respectable candidate than Donald Trump. I wouldn't support Donald Trump or JD Vance. I think I'd still probably support Kamala Harris over him, but it would be on different grounds.
Okay, yeah, that I would say that makes sense.
No. Well, rip. Just for full transparency, I didn't kick him down, okay? That was, I don't know what happened there.
What's up, dude?
What's up, Apollo?
How are you?
Not too good.
I hope you feel better.
Thanks, bud. I have a feeling we won't.
Are you playing a video game?
I am.
What are you playing?
I'm playing the Incredible Hulk.
An old game?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I played that game on like the original Xbox.
Yeah, I'm playing it on PlayStation 2.
What the heck? Okay, that's cool. You and I talked, I think, I'm not really sure when we last talked.
We certainly have. I remember it.
Yeah. There's been a lot that's happened in like the last 5 days. Sad
Certainly,
shit.
yeah. Somebody was murdered. Donald Trump posted a bunch of fucking lies about January 6th on the White House account. Been a pretty bad couple days.
Been a pretty bad. Honest to God, I don't know the last time you and I talked, but it's been a bad few weeks. Going back to like even like Rob Reiner and how Trump talked about that. That was fucking dumb. Very, very dumb. It's a bummer. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like you're very engaged in the conversation. I feel like you're just
I promise you I am. I promise you I am. I agree. Like the Rob Reiner stuff was really bad. I agree. It's just not really like we're at a point right now where it's just going to keep amplifying until there's actual real effort to hold anybody accountable for any of these statements. And I just don't see any world where any of that happens, right? Like the people as a part of the Trump administration just consistently lie about anything that ever happens. And it just gets swept under the table whenever the new fucking constitutional crisis comes out next week.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. It seems like every 3 days it's something new.
It's flooding the zone.
It's flood the zone, but it's also like, bro, it's overstimulating. It's been a lot. It's upsetting me. All this shit. I saw, that woman in Minneapolis. Regardless of what happened, I saw the photo of her with a bag over her head and blood everywhere. It fucks me up.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing this shit.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it.
I agree. It's a.
And then it's this like, was she? Okay, so she probably did too much. They did too much. And now there's a side over here and a side over here, and they're yelling at each other and telling each other they're stupid.
To be fair, though, I think one side was pretty easily more in the wrong, right? Like she was trying to flee, which is not good. You should never flee law enforcement officers. The answer to that isn't shooting somebody in the head 3 times, right?
Yeah, dude, that video, that shit happened so fast. And I agree. I think that dude overreacted. But it did look like he jolted, like she was coming at him. And I don't know. I can't speak to the situation. I don't know. But it sucks. It sucks so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like that shit happens while, that woman's doing what she believes is right. Mm-hmm. And that ICE agent probably is doing what they believe is right. Mm-hmm. And we have tens of millions of Americans online hating each other.
Yes.
As a result of that. Like, it takes that. It's crazy.
I agree. I think a big thing that we should call for right now is actual decent leadership. Like, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I feel like it's super easy to agree that Donald Trump, the first thing that he posts is that this woman is a domestic terrorist, and thank God that person, the ICE officer, escaped with his life, right? Like, what do you expect that to do, right? Like, there's no shot that anybody views that as any sort of unification. I don't know what you would expect the American people to do.
Very, very unhelpful. Yeah. I don't know.
And then have you seen Tim Walz's statement?
Well, Tim Walz is a different situation. I think that guy's such a dork, but
that's fine. You can think he's a dork, but like his sentiment is exactly what you would want out of a leader, right? It's that we can't let this divide each other. We can't let Minnesotans hate Minnesotans. We all need to stand up for this. I'm angry. You're angry. We have to stay peaceful, right? That was the statement. That's what the statement should be out of the president, right? But it's not. His statement was that the left are a bunch of domestic terrorists.
Yeah, it's so easy. Just be like, hey, let's take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say something nice. That should be so simple.
Totally. Yeah,
that does
totally
bum
agree.
me out about Trump. It does. That doesn't help. I don't know. I'm exhausted. What I've been trying to talk about.
I'm super sympathetic to you. Okay, I want to let this be known. I am super sympathetic to you. I understand that, after having Trump the first term, I'm sure it was kind of hard to believe that it would turn out to be like this, right? How are you feeling right now? Like in regard to your choice?
Somewhat good, and in other places bad. I think there are some, I'm one of these guys. I think the southern border situation and ICE, as long as it's done well, I think it's done to enforce the law, which I believe in enforcing the law. I'm that guy.
Of course. Me too.
Venezuela, the more I read into it, I don't like intervening. But as I learned about it, Iran, China, and Russia are also super interested in that area, and they have a lot of resources involving oil and gold. So it did make me be like, okay, I guess I kind of understand why we're doing this. Not that I like it, but I think that's world politics.
Understandable, yeah. That's probably right around where I'm at with Venezuela. Is that I understand why we did it. I just don't think, I don't think that the United States was looking for the best interest of the world there. I think they basically just wanted the oil. But I can envision a reasonable person. I can envision a reasonable person wanting to do that sort of regime change.
Yeah, Maduro's the other thing.
Yeah, Maduro's not great.
So, there's a weird thing that's been pretty quiet recently is the whole Israel and Gaza situation. It's been quiet for 4 months, 5 months, because Trump
maybe
Trump maybe did something.
I'd have to see. I haven't kept up with the war almost at all anyway, so it's been quiet.
No, but nobody's talking about it. So either it's either. Maybe it's still going on, but sometimes I just see how people just follow trends, and it's oh, that's not important anymore. So I don't know. Maybe neither here nor there.
maybe we could get some common ground here, right? I think one of the biggest reasons why that war was stated so much, halfway because there was genuine atrocities going on each side, right? Like, I'm obviously not gonna support October 7th, or I'm not gonna support like all of the fucking bombings of all the Palestinian children. I'm not gonna support any of that. But I think that was about half of the reason that that coverage was so huge, and I think the other half was because there's an election coming up, right? So, one side, especially if you're more toward like the anti-America side or anti-West side, is probably gonna bring that up a bunch, right?
But did that just stop?
Well, I mean, there's no more.
The kids getting.
No, I'm not certain. I know there was like a tentative ceasefire in place, but I don't know what the status of that was. When I last checked, I heard that there was like a bunch of violations on both sides of it. So
they're kind of like, you know, I know you're a lefty guy. I'm a right guy.
Sure.
That stopped. That was an apparent genocide, and that stopped. Do you not give Trump credit for that, or? Like, how do you feel about that?
It's complicated, right? Like, obviously, if I don't know the on-the-ground situation. If it did stop, I will give some amount of credit for getting a ceasefire. I think that's nice. But also, I'm very hesitant because, you know, in those regions, I'm a little more familiar with Russia, Ukraine, but I'm pretty sure this is the case for Israel and Palestine as well, is that a ceasefire is probably about worth the paper that it's written on, right? Like, ceasefires aren't by any means like the end of a war, right? If they stop killing each other for a long time, then that's good.
There's been like 5 ceasefires already, and this is like the most recent one.
Sure, yeah. So I'm a little pessimistic, but I mean, if it gets the, you know, killing to stop for a little bit, then good.
All right. Well, I appreciate you acknowledging that. How far are you into the Hulk game?
I just started it. It just came in the mail today, actually.
Have you got to the point where you can rip a car in half and attach them as fists?
No, not yet.
All right, man. You're gonna find out.
I will surely find out. This tutorial level is really fucking boring. I'm just picking up cars and throwing them at helicopters.
Well, you'll be able to jump impossible lengths eventually, and you're just like a monster.
Yeah.
But all right. God bless, brother.
Listen, good talking.
Okay. Yo, what's up?
Oh no! What's up, buddy?
Yo, did you get the VOD of me slamming you?
Nope, I didn't. Poutine was just too embarrassed for you, so he wouldn't send it.
It's embarrassed for me, alright.
Mm-hmm.
It says Trump has been terrible?
Yes.
Why?
Because policy is bad, because he is incredibly divisive, because the only reason that he got elected was to avoid his pending criminal indictments. I don't think he should have been able to walk away from those indictments. I think he's anti-democracy. I think he's, you know, fundamentally against the values that founded this country.
Well, I agree with some of that. Like, I do think he's a bit divisive, and I do think that if the charges were legitimate, that he shouldn't have avoided those. But, I mean, obviously, we've spoken about this before. I don't think that his felony counts were legitimate. But you said that he has bad policy. I think that's the most interesting. What policies of his do you think are bad?
Well, first of all, it depends on how you're defining policy, right? If you're just counting like executive orders as policy, I could name you a bunch of executive orders I disagreed with. If you're just counting like congressional policy or like any actual bits of legislation he's passed, I would say most of it has been incredibly disappointing. He hasn't actually passed much of anything. But even then, like, there's a bunch of provisions within the big beautiful bill that I don't like.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just going with like the standard definition, just like a course of principle or like an action taken proposed by a government. So any like course of action or plan that he's had for anything doesn't have to be enacted. It's just a course of action or a plan that he's had. So
sure, you can look at him invoking the Alien Enemies Act. You can look at his revocation of student visas on the grounds of First Amendment protected speech. You can look at his pardoning of the January 6ers. You could look at the $500 fee that he put in front of asylum seekers.
Well, I don't see how any of that's bad. You said revocation of like student visas based off First Amendment stuff and you know, Alien Enemies Act. Like, how is any of that bad? It's most like immigration policy. I don't think that's bad.
because the First Amendment is something that ought to be protected. I like freedom of speech. Donald Trump doesn't. I think freedom of speech should be upheld, especially when it's peaceful speech, right? There's no world where you construe it as any sort of incitement or anything. It's not good.
Well, I don't know about all speech. I mean, I feel like not all speech is speech that we'd want in our country. Like, if you have hateful rhetoric towards America, when we want to take those people out of the country, if it's legal and we can, like with these student visas.
It depends on what you mean by hateful rhetoric towards America.
Just being against America, siding with people that don't like America.
No, I don't think siding with somebody. I don't think siding with somebody who is anti-America gives you grounds to revoke their student visa.
Well, are you talking about legality or like practicality? Like, what are you talking about here? Legality?
Either. It doesn't give you the legal basis. It doesn't give you the moral basis.
Pretty sure I've already discussed about the legal basis. Let me see if I can find my notes on this, because I deleted all my notes.
You could try. So the way that this conversation will go, if that's what you're contesting, is I'm going to ask you to justify the deportation of Ramesa Ozturk, who simply just said that the president of her university should divest from Israel. That was the grounds that she got her student visa revoked. So I'm going to ask you to, one, defend that, and then two, explain to me why both cases that litigated that decided incorrectly.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find my notes on that, because I deleted like most everything on these like topics, like immigration and like Kilmar Ray Garcia. But I might have them saved somewhere. Just give me a second. Also, did you ever read those policies that I sent you? Like all like the energy and like the regulatory?
No.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
No? It's not cool.
You're right.
Yeah, no, I don't have any of the visa stuff. So we can just like move on to something else.
Okay.
So besides that, what else?
I think the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act to send people to a torture prison without giving them the ability to challenge that designation was bad and illegal.
Yeah, I don't have my notes on that either. Deleted all of them.
Man, it sounds like we're getting concession after concession out here. What's my record against you at this point?
Oh, you got me,
shit.
boy. I guess.
All right, anything else, buddy?
Nah, I got anything else. I don't have anything.
Love you.
All right, later.
I have watched the videos. I think it's incredibly clear that the wheels are cut by the time that he shoots the shot. I think that's indicative of when you get shot, right? Your arms aren't going to be able to do anything, right? So you would have to concede to the fact that once they were shot, that they continued to turn the wheel away from the ICE officer after they had already been shot in the head. That's just beyond control. Beyond comprehension to me, right? Like, for the car to steer away from the ICE officer like it did after she got shot, that means she either post-mortem turned the wheel or that the wheels were already cut by the time that she got hit. I don't think there's any other thing that could happen. And obviously she didn't turn the wheel while dead. So
Are you out of the shower, buddy?
Here, 1 second. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna stay up here because I'm
still in the shower.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, no. I like. And even the cop had to have been in front of her, so he had to have seen her turning her wheel too. Like,
yeah. Well, she backed up. Like, that's the worst part about it. Like, she was such a good victim too, because like she backed up to make sure that they knew the intention was to create space between her so she could run, right? Like, there's no world where that would make sense of somebody who's trying to hit somebody. It's just not, right? So, like, I would have to think that a reasonable officer would see her backing up to create space between them and the officer would be to run, right? That's not a threat. And especially if you take into account the entire story that, they're allegedly telling, that this woman was following them around all day. Well, then the question rises, if she was trying to, and that if they know who this is, she was trying to ram down the ICE officers, why wouldn't she have done it earlier? What the fuck?
And why wouldn't they have shot her earlier?
There were 2 cops.
Like,
Already you're wrong. There was 3 cops surrounding the vehicle, and there were more coming after, I believe. There were 2 cops, one at the driver's window, another in front of the left corner on the hood. Yes. Well, hold on. In front of the left corner of the hood. So no, there were 2 cops, one at the window, but the one was not in front of the hood. He just wasn't. He tried to position himself in front of the hood to push the car back, but by the time that he shot he shot through the windshield, the front of the car had already passed both of his legs. What's up, buddy?
I'm not a Trump supporter, but I wanted to briefly talk about. Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like briefly talk about what happened in Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
What do you think went down yesterday with the lady?
There was a woman who was probably trying to block ICE officers in at some level. I think every indication that we have, I'm pretty hesitant to accept any story that Kristi Noem or Donald Trump or JD Vance gives. But I think all of the information that we have indicates that they were trying to block ICE in or block ICE's ability to go through with the raids. They tried to enter her vehicle. She backed up to create space between her and the ICE officers, tried to flee the detainment from ICE officers. I'm not even certain if that detainment was legal. I don't think that the ICE has that authority. But regardless, she was trying to flee some sort of detainment. The ICE officer murdered her.
Okay. I guess, I see it the same way, right? Or, it's pretty obvious she was just trying to, flee, and she wasn't trying to hit the cop because her wheel was cut, and, it would avoid hitting the cop, but, it's kind of like a hindsight is 2020 thing, right? Do you think there's any world where the cop genuinely, felt threatened and maybe wanted to, neutralize the threat?
I could see a world where the cop felt threatened, but I'm not the standard for this is not going based off of a world where we can look into the cop's mind, right? It's a reasonable person. I don't think a reasonable person would think that their life is in danger at that point. I think he maybe could have, but that's immaterial to me.
Didn't the car come in contact with the cop?
The only contact that I saw from the 4 videos was that the cop was trying to push the car back after it started moving, and then he reaches around to shoot into the front windshield after his legs are already behind the front of the car. Right? There's no world where he would need to do that to secure his own safety because the front of the car is already in front of him, unless she was going to whip it to the side and sideswipe him, but it's fucking stupid. There's no reason that she would do that.
So why do you think the cop, can you say the word?
Murdered her?
Shot her? I don't know.
I'd say murdered. There's no reason to give this person any grace. I think it's probably just because these people aren't trained. They saw somebody who was running away. They're pretty fragile in the ego department, so they see somebody running away from law enforcement, and they think they've got a big dick, so they killed her.
So you think he killed her because, he just wanted to kill a lady?
Probably because she was fleeing law enforcement, and he just doesn't have the training to know what to do, or the emotional maturity to know what to do, so he just made a rash decision to kill her. I don't think he was going out oh man, I can't wait to murder a woman, right? I don't think that's what he was doing. But the idea that a reasonable person, it's possible that he thought his life was in danger, but a reasonable person wouldn't, right?
I see. So you would attribute this to bad training and ego, I guess?
The bad training, bad screening, necessarily, if you're gonna find a bunch of fucking fat, stupid people that were too fat and stupid to be cops and then give them $1 billion to go hunt down immigrants, they're probably gonna be on a power trip, right? Especially when you only give them a month's worth of training. It's not shocking to me that all of those materials breed the kind of situations like this. It's just not shocking to me. I'd probably say lack of training is the biggest thing. I don't think that this guy had a bloodlust or anything, but I think that anybody like that, the fact that they can carry around a gun is ridiculous.
I see. I guess, I don't know, I'm a little too hesitant to call it right now. I think it reminds me a lot of like the Kyle Rittenhouse case, where like maybe we need to see more information come out or like new video angles. But from what I've seen, yeah, he was very rash in his actions, I think.
I mean, it's possible that there's something that exonerates him, but I think that is really, really slim considering, like, we do know from the footage we saw that both of his feet are behind the front of the car by the time he shoots. I just don't see any world where that'd be justifiable.
Okay. That's all I wanted to talk about, though. It was good talking to you.
Yep. Love you, buddy.
Okay. Well, I'm back. I'm nice and fresh and clean, you know.
I'm so happy to hear it, buddy.
After a long, hard days of work.
Let's go.
Fine. Yep. Let's talk about the ice schmurder.
Let's do it.
Yeah, since y'all were talking about it, it's like, you know.
I like the way you phrased that, by the way, because it wasn't murder.
I was gonna say schmurder is presupposing it's bad, but
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. Like it was.
Agreed.
Based.
Okay. I'm glad.
You know, it's like okay, so like here's my take, right? It's like, you know, like bro was in front of the car, and it's like, you know, if I saw someone accelerating at me, like even if they were like turning away, I probably wouldn't be able to, you know, like register that, like for sure, like do I think that he should have, you know, oh God, sorry, I'm trying to use the TikTok language.
You're good. Don't worry about it, buddy. Say murder, 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 murder. We're good.
Yeah. I think that if he was trying to like I don't think that he should have like murdered her or anything like that. I think that's like a little ridiculous. But you know, honestly, I think if I was in that position, you know, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have done the same thing. It's like, you know, I think that that's like a really weird position to be in, especially when, you know, I guess at the end of the day, you're just trying to do your job. And it's like if they're like purposefully trying to flee, then, you know, to prevent them, I guess you would like plant yourself in front of the vehicle.
Here's the three things that I think you need to consider here, because I agree with most of what you're saying. There's just a couple things that I consider. So the first thing is when you say that he was in front of the car, I think that's kind of true because he was in front of the car. But by the time that he had actually shot you can go back and rewatch the videos. By the time that he shot through the windshield, both of his legs were clear of the front of the vehicle. Right. So all of the threat that this woman allegedly posed to him was gone by the time that he had shot. And the second thing is that I would expect a normal person to probably react in the way that guy did, right? Because you're not thinking.
Yeah.
However, ICE officers shouldn't be normal people. This is something that a lot of people do with with police officers too. These people go through training for a reason. They're not supposed to be impulsive like a normal person. They're not supposed to have the same impulse control as a normal person. They're supposed to perform well under stress, right? So the fact that these people are coming in and getting like 30 days of training and then just sent out to the world like that is insane to me, right? Like part of it is kind of hard to blame on the guy, but like, why aren't we training these people way more to perform better under pressure, right? This is partially a systemic issue. Now, the third thing as well is that if this officer genuinely thought that his life was under threat, or a reasonable officer in his position would think that his life is under threat, I would see no reason why the car would back up first and then cut the wheel all the way to the side, right? Like I see no reason why that would be, if I'm a cop and I think this person's about to ram me down, when I see the car back up first, I'd be like, well, why the fuck didn't they just floor it? Right? Like,
also thank you for the galaxy.
Yeah. What is it? Kaizord? Is that how you pronounce your name? Thank you for the galaxy. I love you. I think that's like $10. So that's super valid, super fire. I love you, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like, I was in the Army and it's like, you know, I went through all kinds of like, you know, training with firearms, evacuating civilian buildings and, you know, entering and clearing them. And like, you know, after I looked at that video, it's like, I don't think that I would react any differently than he did, you know, even with, you know, 2 years of training. And it's like, you know, I totally understand what you're saying for sure. It's like, I don't think that he should have, you know, shot the woman and killed her. But it's like, you know, I think it is weird that like when she backed up, But the only thing about that is that like you can see the tires like spinning like actively. And so it was like, I don't know. I think it was a really, really bad position for both of them to be in.
Wait, which tire? When you say you can see the tire spinning, what do you mean?
Yeah, like the front left tire, like in the video, you can like see it spinning as she's, reaccelerating. Even though the wheel was turned, he would still, I mean, you're not going to notice that if you're standing right in front of the car that close. And so it's like,
what I would say is that there's no world where the officer would notice that the wheel is spinning to perceive a threat from it, where he doesn't see that the wheel is cut completely to the right away from his body, right? Like,
yeah, but you can hear it. Like you would be able to hear that though, no?
No, probably not. I don't think you would. I don't think you would notice. Like, I don't know if somebody is trained. I don't think you would have a perception of like when the tire is steering while like there are multiple police officers yanking on the door and telling her to get out, and when she just backed up. Like, I don't know if that's something that you could detect out of that commotion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a really bad position. I feel bad that she is dead and stuff like that. Like that sucks for real. But at the but it's like at the end of the day, I just don't know if I would have, just thinking if I was in that position, I don't know if I would have done anything differently, to be honest, except for the doctor thing. I don't know what that was about.
You know what? But the standard procedure is typically just get out of the way, right? Like, even if she was trying to weaponize her vehicle, you just get out of the way. That's clearly not what that officer was doing. He was like putting himself in front of the car as it was trying to drive away. There's like I see no reason why you should ever do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, if you're thinking even like not even from like a procedure standpoint, but from like just a natural instinct standpoint.
Mm-hmm. My instinct would be to reach around the windshield to shoot into it. I would get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the part that kind of like trips me up about it, because it's like, I can see where he's coming from, like to a certain point, but when you like just bring in just natural instinct factors that like most reasonable people would have, it's like,
and to be fair, like, I think that is the standard that we should go based off of, right? Like, I'm pretty sure with police interactions, the standard that you would use, and I think this is a policing action regardless of if they're technically police or not, like the standard that you use is a reasonable officer, right? You don't, like, it's possible that this person, like, it's theoretically possible that this person was like schizophrenic and he was seeing a boogeyman that had like a shotgun in his mouth or whatever, but like a reasonable officer would not perceive that, right? Like, you could still hold him accountable for something if he felt personally threatened, but a reasonable person wouldn't,
Well, that is the interesting thing. It's like 6 months before he was actually hit by a car. And so it's like, I don't know. I don't even know. Sorry, my cat's going crazy too.
Yeah, my cats are going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like 6 months before he had actually gotten hit by a car, and so I don't know. Personally, I don't think that really necessarily plays like a big factor in it, just because you're supposed to be a professional and representing the federal agency in which you're employed by.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that he had like personal PTSD that affected the way he reacted, but I'm pretty sure that if you have PTSD, you go on leave, right? Like, you don't send a cop with PTSD out onto the field. Right? Well, I would assume that it's the same thing for ICE officers.
Not necessarily, because it's like in the military, it's like most of the times you're not going to get diagnosed with it until after your service, because it could just be more of like a temporary kind of like a bleak point more often than not.
Potentially, so I guess, but like if you were like showing psychological signs, right, like of any sort of concern with like this thing, or if you're like super erratic or you're super on edge, I'm pretty sure that's grounds to not send you out into like those kind of situations, right?
Police wise, yeah. Military, not so much. I was actually like a mental and behavioral health analyst, and so I dealt with a lot of it. And most of the time, they're going to try and put you on different medications before they actually, retrieve you or remove you from duty. And so it's like, I'm not giving them like an excuse. I'm not saying that that's an excuse.
Yeah,
like,
we don't. Yeah, you're good.
But like, I'm trying to, be kind of fair.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, and I think you are being fair. I can understand where you're coming from, but ultimately, like, I think the undeniable situation is that, A, I think this was a murder, right? Like a reasonable person wouldn't have perceived their life in danger. There was a very easily avoidable killing, right? Like I don't think there's any legal justification to this. So I think the guy should be, dealt with accordingly. I think that ICE officers should go through way fucking more training than a month in order to be in these high risk situations, especially in areas like Minneapolis or New York or wherever, where like the people don't really even want ICE there in the first place. I think you should have way more training to deal with like high stress or high like volatility situations like that. And that the Trump administration should take accountability for coming out and just blatantly lying about the situation before we got the videos. I think all of those are pretty hard to argue.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm getting ready to go watch the Miami and Ole Miss game.
The Miami and who?
Really? Ole Miss.
What sport is that?
Football.
Oh, lame. Okay.
College playoffs, baby. Woo!
Lame.
Go Miami!
I'm getting ready to watch the Cavs game, so I get it.
Yeah, I'm real excited. I'm going to B-Dubs. I'm about to hit the Coronas. Have a
let's go.
Night. But,
on a Thursday night. I salute you, buddy.
Oh yeah. But I hope you guys have a fantastic night. You guys seem like really reasonable,
Yeah, you too.
I hope you guys just have a great day, great weekend.
Yep, you too. If you ever want to chat about anything, I always run these lives.
All right, sweetheart. When's the shower debate, though?
The shower debate. Listen, it's whenever you're ready, buddy.
Oh, I was ready just now.
I'll go back in there. All right, it was throwing me off. I had so much things that I need to really lock in for it. All right, I can't be playing video games while I do that.
Okay. Well, how about we'll schedule it?
Yeah, we'll schedule it.
We'll do a shower debate. Cameras have to be on though for proof. Okay.
Listen, my camera's always on, buddy. That's all you.
All right, look, I'll run it.
Let's run it.
All right. Well, we'll get that figured out. But I hope you guys have a great night.
Yep, I love you, buddy. Have fun. Okay, I think we're probably good for the night.
That's a good note to. Yeah, that's a good note.
This was a good live. This was actually like pretty. Like I don't think I talked to anybody that was super terrible today.